The Friday Rugby Preview with Stuart Cameron.
Hello and welcome to the Friday Rugby Preview, looking at the Borders clubs in action tomorrow. Robin Purdy joins me again, and it's been 2 weeks since we last had club rugby, so we're going to start with a quick recap of the results from the end of last month in the Premiership. The results were Edinburgh Accies 14, Selkirk 41, Heriot's 42, Watsonians 20. The Marr game against Currie was postponed. Ayr 66, Kelso 7, Hawick 31, Musselburgh 5, and Melrose 33, Glasgow Hawks 33.
It seems like a while since then, back in January. But yeah, pretty much as expected, I would say, bar maybe the draw at Melrose and the kind of magnitude, if you like, of Selkirk's win at Edinburgh Accies. I seen Selkirk going up there and doing a number, but I didn't see it maybe being quite as convincing. That's a brilliant win, that on the road. They really are in a good place.
All done in the second half as well, wasn't it? Just 14-all at the break.
Yeah, they've been really, I've seen them a number of times this season, and they've been strong in second halves. They look fit, and they go for the full 80 plus however much. They've done a number on Accies there, and yeah, Heriot's purring along, as we've spoken about before. Big win against fellow ex-Super Series team, Watsonians. Ayr were always going to get 5 points there, no offence to Kelso. Kelso got much bigger fish to fry than Ayr away in the coming weeks. Hawick, I was at that game. Hawick were impressive in patches. Musselburgh gave it their all, but just not enough. Hawick fairly comfortable in the end, and yeah, like I say, that draw, probably didn't see that coming. Seen a home win there. That's a really good result for Glasgow Hawks on the road. So
how does it all pan out as far as the Premiership table is concerned? Well, Ayr at the top, no change there, 71 points, but Heriot still 1 point behind on 70. Watsonians 51. That's a big gap, isn't it, between second and third? 19 points. Currie underneath them with another 8 point gap to 43 points for them. And then we have Selkirk with that result at Edinburgh Accies, and of course Currie not playing, but it also meant that Selkirk actually had one game in hand, so they're now level in playing the 14 games, but just 1 point behind Currie now. They have 42, Melrose on 40, Hawick 35, Glasgow Hawks 32, Edinburgh Accies 27, Kelso 26, Marr 20, and Musselburgh 14. So the three in the relegation zone at the moment: Kelso 26, Marr 20, and Musselburgh 14. Kelso and Musselburgh have played 15 games, Marr only 13, so they've got 2 games in hand, so potentially 10 points there. But as we'll find out in a second, they have a very tough match this very evening at Milbrae against Ayr. So in fact, that's a good place to start. The West Coast Derby, monumental task for Marr against the league leaders.
Yeah, it's the toughest assignment in club rugby at the moment. Going to Milbrae, it's not much of a journey they'll need to make, but they say it almost every week. Table doesn't lie in this one, Stuart, and that's got on the face of it 5 points for the home side written all over it. They've been nigh on imperious, bar that blip at Currie, and Marr with it all to do. But like other teams around them, if they can come away with 4 tries tonight and get a bonus point, then absolutely hallelujah. But they've got much more important games than this free hit tonight against the teams further down the table.
Not the only game tonight, of course. Watsonians against Currie. Watsonians last time out lost at Golden Acre. Their home form hasn't always been great this season, and Currie needing the points to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a very tough one to call. Maybe Currie to shade it, actually. Watsonians not been that great at times at home, and Currie do enjoy their Friday nights. So yeah, tough one to call this, and Currie are in a battle now. Not so long ago it looked like they were absolutely nailed on for that 4th spot, but they're in a battle now with predominantly Selkirk. So yeah, Currie could do with just getting something tonight in that, in terms of that battle for 4th, but I can see them getting something.
And so to Glasgow Hawks against Edinburgh Accies. Now, Hawks know a win against Accies will take the pressure off them to avoid being sucked into that relegation battle, but Accies know that if they don't get something out of this, they could actually drop into the bottom 3.
Oh yeah, it's a huge game for Accies. It's one that is, of course, for them winnable, but Glasgow Hawks, brilliant result down at Melrose last time out, and I think they're okay now, and I think they'll accumulate enough points between now and the end of the campaign to be further okay. But yeah, they could do with winning tomorrow, and then the shackles are off. But yeah, big game for Edinburgh Accies, that, absolutely.
Well, a Kelso win tomorrow in the big derby. Kelso against Melrose could see them go out of the relegation zone. Again, if Glasgow Hawks beat Edinburgh Accies and Accies pick up nothing, there's a chance that will happen. A Melrose win, though, vital for them to keep their chances of making the playoffs alive. Let's hear from both parties. Melrose co-head coach Scott Wight, and first Kelso Director of Rugby Neil Hinnigan.
A couple of weeks ago with Ayr, we struggled. Ayr were just phenomenal at times after seeing that game. They were literally unplayable for periods of that game, and then at other times we really stuck in and we took it to them ourselves for large parts. And you got to credit our own players for sticking in that one. It could have got a lot more messy on the scoreboard than it did, but just through a bit of grit and pride we hung in. But yeah, a lot of lessons learned through there. We really need to look back at the first half performance against Marr last time we went home. If we can get to something of that standard, I think we'll do well on Saturday. Player-wise, we picked up a few knocks at Ayr, and there's some boys will miss out, but the squad depth is went up a little bit lately. There's some boys returning. Last week we had a game at Jed in the Border League, and we had to send predominantly Kelso Sharks players who really stepped up. They were tremendous, and we had some fringe players from the first, and they also, stood out. So it's made competition for places really healthy. Tuesday night was a big session, and a lot of people putting their hands up, giving Nicky and Bruce some headaches on selection. So it's a fairly old tight selection this week, and that's only good for the future, and it's good for our environment at the moment. The more of that we get, the better. And if you're not selected, it's just about backing the team up and being there and ready to go for the next match. It's one big push from everyone. I must say that the Sharks team have had games here and there that, they haven't always had a great fixture list with various problems with availabilities in other teams and such like as well. And, for them to step up last week at Jed and pull the jersey on and give it everything really showed where we are as a club, and absolutely delighted with that. And along with Stuart Lang and Mark Olsen coaching the seconds, they've done a good job there, and they'll continue to try and produce more competition for the first team. We really need to look at, the next 3-4 games are going to be crucial for the club, so we're going to need more depth. I think earlier in the season, we really struggled with that, so we're starting to get to grips with it a little bit, and hopefully it's not too late, and we can get out of the bottom 3 starting on Saturday. There's a pre-match lunch on. I think there's over 200 at this one, so it's a really big day at the club. There should be a sizable crowd and a lot of noise, so everyone wants to be involved in these ones, and hopefully it's a good day for Kelso.
Selkirk and Glasgow Hawks not went to plan, so obviously boys are really keen to get things back up and running. So look, boys are hugely looking forward to another border derby, which, essentially Farmers' Day down there as well. So it's going to be a busy old afternoon with obviously quite a hostile crowd. So looking forward to it. I think obviously a bit of both. Obviously we've done them up at the Green Yards, which I dare say a game could have went either way. So, Kelso will be desperate to, put amends that result. But look, in our own quest for top 4, these are the games that, we've got to come out on the right side of the result. So, all the focus has went into this week in terms of Kelso strengths, where we feel we can get at them, and, solely focusing on ourselves. So yeah, looking forward to it. Team-wise, Will Owen's now obviously away. He's away to Australia, so that's him done for the season. So Will's obviously out, but we've got Jack Dobie, Will Ferry and Zen to pick from, so still a few things to finalise there. Middle row, back row, a couple of wee niggles there. Finlay Sinclair's not quite fit yet, so he's out. But it was a great exercise last week against Peebles in terms of what that allowed us to do was look at different combinations and give other people a run. So, we're still to finalise a few things. Bruce Colvin's available for selection this week. He'll come back into the mix. Backline in general, everybody's fully fit. So we're looking forward to it, and I hope it's going to be a good day.
Home advantage for Kelso, another big crowd.
Oh, it sounds like it's going to be a big day there. Yeah, Farmers' Lunch, 200 plus. It will be vociferous, one would imagine. And
hostile, they call it.
Hostile. Let's hope it doesn't get too hostile, given some of the comms that have come out this week. But no, Kelso's a great place to be on a Saturday afternoon when they're in the Premiership, and it's a home game, and particularly when it's a border derby. And Kelso could do with a win. They need to get some wins from someone, and I think they'll have this one marked on the card. But if Melrose have got any designs left at all on fourth, then this is absolutely must win for them. If they don't win tomorrow, then for me they're not going to finish fourth. So yeah, it's a huge game for a number of reasons. Neil mentioned Kelso against Marr. They will need to replicate the first half for him there. I'm not reading too much into the result at Ayr. Melrose just maybe in the Prem at least have just started to drift a wee bit. So yeah, like I say, they need a win, but they had a really good win on Friday night past there in the Border League against what I believe was a fairly strong Peebles team, whereas Melrose weren't at full strength, of course. So yeah, it's sure to be a great occasion there tomorrow, and it's a big game.
David Ferguson covering that one for us tomorrow. The next match, Musselburgh against Heriot at Stony Hill. Hard to imagine anything less than an away win for Heriot. Yeah,
I would agree, Stuart. Heriot's been absolutely brilliant this season. Can't wait till they have their double header against Ayr, which is going to determine who finishes top of the pops. They had that one sort of almost first half blip against Watsonians, which seen them lose the game. But yeah, I seen Musselburgh at Hawick a couple of weeks ago. Game as you like, got absolutely tore into them. Couple of 17-year-olds, an 18-year-old in the front row. All credit to these young kids. They really did battle. They really did battle hard. Hawick had too much, and yeah, it's hard to see them coming away with too much tomorrow. 5 points for Heriot for me.
The other game is Selkirk against Hawick. It's another border derby tomorrow at Philiphaugh, with Selkirk also looking for their fourth Border League win on the trot after picking up maximum points at Kelso and Melrose. For Hawick, it will be their first Border League game of the season, but safe to say it's Premiership points front and centre in their minds, as both are in the mix for the playoffs. We're going to hear from Hawick head coach Graeme Hogg, and then we'll run a chat that I had with Selkirk prop Bruce Riddell.
We are really looking forward to the challenge. It's been a reasonable start for us since the turn of the year, with a good 2 points and what should have been a victory up at Watsonians, followed by a bonus point victory at home to Musselburgh, and we wanted to keep that momentum going last week in the Border League, but unfortunately that game against Gala was cancelled. So now we're looking forward to obviously Selkirk first in the run of fixtures, the big run of fixtures we've got coming from now. We know what challenge is ahead of us with Selkirk. As I say, they've been an informed side, they've been impressive over this first part of the season, so we're looking to see how we go against them. We've had a good force training sessions to prep with that Gala game being off. So we're going best foot forward, and we're looking forward to see what we can do. Unfortunately, we've picked up another couple of injuries. Fergus Bell is going to miss the next 3 to 4 weeks with an innocuous head knock in training on Tuesday night. Really disappointed for Fergus. He's taken strides over the last few weeks in getting that 80-minute performance, something that he's not had against Musselburgh. It was really setting him in good stead. So really disappointed he's going to miss out for the next few weeks. And unfortunately, Kyle Brunton, he has picked up a hip injury, so he won't be playing either. So that gives young Cian Riddell an opportunity to take the reins. He's been showing up and well in training for the whole season. He's been very, very close to getting an opportunity, and now he's got the chance to lead this team and see where we can go with it.
So Selkirk, fifth in the Premiership at the moment, just 1 point behind Currie. Your top Borders ranked team. Things are going rather well.
Yeah, look, we've had a good season. By no means is it finished. We've had a good team, and I think ultimately when you look at the squad that we've got a good squad together, but we've also been lucky with regards to injuries and things like that, because we've kept a settled squad throughout it. So on the back of having that settled squad, we know what to expect from every player, and every player drives that standard to make sure that we're pushing to hopefully jump Currie and get into that top 4 spot.
You mentioned the injuries, and you've been very lucky this season compared with others. It's about time you had a bit of luck in that department, and obviously there's still a few boys out missing, but generally this season you've been able to keep them on the pitch.
In the past we've had a lot of issues with injuries, and we've lost a lot of boys throughout a season, and we've had to use a number of different players and bring up some of the younger boys who are not as experienced and things like that, which ultimately it's what rugby's about. It's developing the younger boys and giving them their shot, but at the same point having that ability to keep a settled squad there and ready to play week in, week out, obviously makes things a lot easier and a lot more helpful for the team themselves.
Still, obviously, a bit of work to do in the Premiership, because you do want to get into that playoff. Kelso managed it last season against the odds, and certainly Selkirk could well come under the radar and do that. So a lot of work to be done, but the buzz must be really, really good at the club at the moment.
Yeah, look, there's still a lot to do, still a lot of games to be played, and we're not resting our hats on it now. We know the job that's in front of us, because we're sitting in a good spot, but we've also still got Watsonians, Heriots, Ayr, Currie. They're all above us. We've still got to play all of them, and we're up for that challenge. And as a team, we've got that buzz, as you say. We've got boys sitting in there driving the standards, driving ourselves, and we've got the confidence there to go out and beat these teams. We just need to perform on the day.
So it's Hawick this weekend, a club that a lot of clubs have struggled against in the past. You've actually got a pretty good record against them, even though you haven't actually won for about 3 or 4 years, I think. But you've drawn at Mansfield Park, you've run them close at Mansfield Park, you've now got them at Philip Hawke. And the other interesting thing here is that it doubles as a Border League fixture. You've played 3, won 3. If you beat Hawick, then you're in a great position in the Border League. And this, of course, is Hawick's first Border League match.
Yeah, look, Hawick, they're a good side. We played them over there, and I think it was 22-27, the final score. So it was a close game, but again, we came out of that looking at ourselves going, it's one that probably got away from us as well. So we've done our work, we've done our homework again on the last game and also this game, but at the same point, we've had that break week, but we've not stopped. We've trained well throughout that. We've had a lot of boys down, and we've been doing bits and pieces to make sure that we're still taking over and we're ready to hit this week really hard. Obviously, as you say, it's Border League as well, which ultimately, the Border League is a massive thing in club rugby in the Borders, and we have ambitions to go and win that again, and secure that title again and push forward on that basis. But foremost, we need to put all of that aside and go, right, the game in front of us is Hawick, let's go and play it. We've still got plenty of games in the Premiership, we've still got 2 or 3 games in the Border League, but we need to focus week on week and what's in front of us, which is obviously the Hawick game.
Now, obviously, there's at Christmas time, there's a big gap, I think 4 or 5 weeks. It's been longer for some as well. So it's almost like a different season now. How do you feel going into this part of the season? Because obviously it's a bit muddier. It's a different scenario to how it was back in September, October.
I think probably we now look at it as, in actual fact, the pitches are probably getting softer. As you say, they're getting muddier. They're getting to that churned up side. So, the pitches become heavier and you need to work a little bit more on the fitness element of that because of what that brings. But I think, yes, there's a big layoff over Christmas and this year with paused games and delayed games, that we've had probably a bigger break than normal, and it's been a bit disjointed, but at the same point it allows you to work on specific things throughout a week, and but also at the same point deload where necessary, so that boys aren't just constantly battering at a door to try and get through. We can deload where necessary, allow some of the niggles to recover and push forward for those games that we've got in front of us.
You mentioned the heavy pitches, and of course you're a very fit side. You're one of the fittest sides in the Premiership. Of that, there's no doubt. We've seen other clubs die about 65, 70 minutes. Selkirk keep on going, and you've had some good late runs as well. Yeah,
you look at our teams and you look at the games that we've played. There's a number of games where we finished. Melrose, prime example. Twice we beat them. With a last minute sort of try. Which is evident to the fitness that we don't stop for the 80 minutes. We can't stop for the 80 minutes. We need to keep going and keep going. Selkirk sometimes has been known in the past for getting to 60, 70 minutes and then just dying off. And I think that was a big factor of where we were when we went into pre-season, was that, we want to be that team that plays for 80 minutes because the game's 80 minutes long. So we need to have that fitness to back us to do that. And I think, this season we've proved that. We've proved that on a number of occasions, and that's down to obviously the coaching staff and how we train and the fact that, every week, and we're topping up on that, and we're pushing ourselves, and we're not just relying on what we've done in pre-season. With the games being broken away and having break weeks, we've continued with the fitness element, we've continued with the sort of strength element to keep our bodies ticking over and to keep that fitness at a high level that the standard deserves at the Premiership.
Well, just finally, and on a lighter note, Robin Purdy's going to be there again. You know that he's seen you 6 times this season. You've won all 6, so he's there again on Saturday. Lucky charm.
Yes, a lot of people have said that to us, that Robin himself is been there at all the 6 games that we've won, but we can't rely on lucky charms. We can't rely on it. We've got obviously the game to prepare for, and the boys have got that in their heads that this is the next one. We push forward, and that's what we target. We're not relying on something out with our control to stop us on our tracks.
There we are. They've dismissed you completely.
I know, I'm offended, Bruce. But no, he's absolutely right. I've not seen them against Ayr and Heriots and the games that you maybe wouldn't expect them to win, but they're going to be there tomorrow. What a game! I think it's going to be really, really looking forward to it. Selkirk, if they're going to maintain this charge for 4th place, then they're playing a team below them in the table, so they'll be looking to be victorious. And they're giving you long odds on Selkirk being the Border's top dogs. You'd asked me pre-season, but that's exactly where they are, and they've got such a settled squad. They've used by far and away, I think, the least amount of players out of any team in the Premiership. And they talk about spine. You talk about a spine of the team. Hooker, second row, number 8. You've Tate, albeit he's not going to be playing hooker tomorrow, but Tate, Fisher, Westlake at 8, Alderson, Aaron McComb, and Callum Anderson marshalling things as he does at the back. It's a brilliant spine of a team, but Hawick are far from coming to make up the numbers tomorrow. They'll be thinking this is a winnable game. They've already beaten Selkirk this season. The experienced campaigner Brunton being out, that's a blow. But I was impressed by young Riddell when he came on against Musselburgh. So he'll be looking to make his mark. And Selkirk have got tries in them as well. That back division, Tate's got plenty of tries this season. He's going to be playing against his hometown club. Be interesting to see how that goes. And Selkirk to possibly shade it.
And a first appearance for Graeme Dodds in the commentary box. He'll be joining you.
Yeah, and if it doesn't go Selkirk's way, then that's on him, not me.
Absolutely, he could be the jinx. By the way, just to acknowledge, there were 2 Border League games last Friday night. Jed and Kelso drawing 26 each, while Melrose destroyed Peebles by 50 points to 14. Let's go to the National 1 then, and go over the results. Dundee 0, Stirling County 31, GHA 33, Glasgow Accies 29, Gala 21, Boroughmuir 14, Highland 44, Biggar 41, Cracker at Canal Park there, and Jed-Forest 37, Peebles 28.
Yeah, some interesting stuff in there. Stirling doing what they need to do. Looked for a while like they might have got a favour from Glasgow Accies. That didn't materialise. GHA pulled through on that one in what looked like a bit of a Glasgow ding-dong there. Gala got the job done. Will Ewen Swinton admit that that's them safe?
I think he has now admitted it.
He's now admitted it. Good.
3 or 4 weeks after us, but
good to hear. But no, Gala, they are the best of the rest this season as far as the table's concerned. The top 3 are out in front, and Gala with a few games to go are safe, and I think that's in this season of all seasons, I think that's a good testament to them. Highland, my word, what a game there. Highland 44, Biggar 41. Again, looked like Biggar were going to do some other teams around Highland a favour for a point in time, but Highland have dug that out. That's a big result for them, and that takes them out of the drop zone by 5 points as well. So yeah, and Jed got it over the line against Peebles, high scoring encounter, and Jed, another team now they're pretty much safe. Jed, it was a big result in the sense that their last 3 games are away from home, so that gives them a degree of comfort. Peebles now just with a wee bit of work to do.
Well, the National 1 table then looks like this. GHA at the top of the pile, having played 1 more than most of the teams, 70 points for them. Stirling County, 61 points. They have lost 2 games, drawn 1, but try bonuses in every single match they've played so far, which could well stand them in good stead. Glasgow Accies, 5 points docked. That means they're down to 53 now. Gala have 42 in 4th position. Jed-Forest 40. Biggar 36 with 1 point point docked. Highland up to 30 points now. And in the drop zone, the last three, it's Peebles 25, Boroughmuir 23 and Dundee, they've gone, haven't they? 11 points only for them. So tomorrow's matches end. Biggar at home to GHA. Biggar one win away from being safe, you could say, from relegation, but GHA battling for promotion. They're still unbeaten, but they've had a few lucky escapes.
Yeah, they have, and I think that's the mark of a champion team as well. They've dug themselves out of whatever holes and found themselves in. But we always say it's a banana skin. Hartree Mill, they'll be going there with a degree of trepidation, and Biggar will be licking their lips at the prospect, like you say, they could maybe do a one more win to get over the line from a safety perspective. So yeah, but it'll be it's always blood and thunder at Biggar, and it'll be that again tomorrow. GHA to come out the right side of it, but Biggar to pick up 1 if not 2 points.
Glasgow Accies against Jed-Forest. Jed, of course, posted one of the shock results of the season when coming back from 31-5 down at home to Accies and getting up to win. Accies will be targeting this one to get revenge on a Jed team that's hit the 40 mark now. That puts them pretty safe. Let's hear from head coach Stuart Johnson.
We trip up to Glasgow on Saturday, and obviously we're going up there pretty confident after our home result against them. In a high scoring game at Riverside that we won by 2 points, but we're also now off the back of 3 games undefeated as well, so squad will be pretty settled as well. Gregor Young is now fully fit, come back into the mix. We'll have a few boys back from that Friday night game against Kelso. Gary Young will come back in as well, Grant Paxton and Briggsy. We need to go up there. We need to be on it defensively, as we always speak about, but as well if our attack functions, which we know it can do, and it's been functioning really well recently, that we should go up there and hopefully get a result. And we actually need to get a result as well, put ourselves properly safe from that bottom 3. But we know what Glasgow Accies can bring as well. They've obviously put some big results on a few teams. I'm going to imagine they'll be gunning for us after losing that 31-5 half-time lead they had against us last time. So we know the challenges they'll pose, but we're going up there to get a result to put us 100% safe in this league for next season.
Well, as Jono said, Accies were fuming after losing at Riverside Park. Their team talk's already done. Oh,
they'll be looking for revenge, that's for sure. Brilliant comeback on that day from Jed, and yeah, they know the task in hand, and they can go up there in good spirits with a bit of confidence, knowing that they've already got one over the Accies so far this season. The bookies would have Accies as the favourites for this one, but yeah, John was right. Jed not mathematically safe yet. For me, it's job done. But yeah, if they can get a come away again, point or two, then I think that will represent a pretty good result in what's been a good season for Jed all in. Tough season last season, talk of doing an Aberdeen, doing a Boroughmuir, these teams that have gone down, it can quite quickly become a slippery slope. And yeah, Jono and Ryan Ormiston and Herdie and the others have done a pretty good job there for me this season.
Well, the big match in National 1 has to be this one, Boroughmuir against Highland. We can't understate how vital this game is for both teams. Dundee pretty much down, as we said. 2 relegation places left. It looks like it will be 2 from Peebles, Boroughmuir and Highland. I think if Highland win this one, they're the hot favourites to stay up, and it would almost seal the fate for Boroughmuir, because they could be as much as 12 points adrift of Highland after this game.
Yeah, I agree absolutely with that. If Highland win, it's a monumental result for them. Boroughmuir need the win. I think Peebles will be looking for a favour from Boroughmuir here. It's an absolute season definer, I would say, for them both. If Highland can head away up the A9 with the points in the bag, then they are in a very good place. And yeah, it's going to be some game, that.
Dundee's only win of the season was against Peebles, so they're out for the double, but for Peebles they will be wanting nothing less than 5 points, and obviously hope Boroughmuir do them a favour. Let's get the latest from Peebles head coach Graeme Paterson.
A week off from National League Rugby last week, but we were still competitive in terms of our matches. So Friday night game down at the Greenyards against Melrose was certainly going to be a stern test, and a good opportunity to test ourselves against quality side, give some younger guys and guys that have been playing in our Reds, our second team, a chance to experience that sort of level, and hopefully get a bit of kind of game practice ready to get back into the main business for us is really about securing that National 1 status in the last 4 league games and making sure that we came through that game unscathed with a bit of practice under pressure and ready for the tests ahead in the last 4 league games. Thankfully we came through with no injuries, just a bit bumps and bruises, but nothing major to speak of, and some really good showings from a lot of the players. Put their hands up. Melrose ran away with it in the end, but they're a quality side. They had good bench, very good options, well deserved their victory. But I was pleased with the way we played, certainly in that first 50 minutes. We had a bit of kind of structure and a bit of fluidity. So we'll look ahead to Dundee this week, down at the Gites, a massive game, the first of 4 massive games for the club. On paper, the easiest one being at home, 2 being against Dundee, who are at the bottom. But certainly we're not taking that as a given in any stretch of the imagination. We know what happened up there, and that's maybe a bit of that mentality crept in. We thought that maybe the game was won when we went ahead and then just took the foot off the pedal a wee bit and allowed them an entry back into the game. But I'm pretty sure the guys know what they need to do this time round. Our set piece needs to function pretty well. Having looked at them, yes, they're at the bottom of the league, but they operate at a reasonable level on many occasions, and they weren't blown away by Stirling in their last league game. So we know what the tests are going to be. Team news, yeah, a few picking up a couple of injuries in the last few games previous to the Melrose one, so a couple of concussions there. Lewis Copeland and Buster Davidson. Buster would have been back in contention for this week, but he's picked up an infection, so he's on antibiotics and not feeling up to playing this week, so he doesn't come back in. Young Rory McAfee is still out with his knee, and also Archie Winnington Ingram as well with a knee injury that he picked up against Jed. So yeah, a couple of kind of wee impacts on our squad depth, but I'm happy with it. We've got a good enough squad to go out there. The starting front row will be John Gray, Matty Carrier and Roo Smith, which is pretty solid. The backups to that will be Andy Duncan and John Napier as well, who'll impact off the bench. And a tried and trusted second row pairing of Cammy Pye and Ross Brown means that we've got real bulk and ballast in that front 5, looking to really test their set piece and certainly their scrum in that regard. And we've got a pretty good breakaway trio. Robert Harrison, Finlay Collins and Ewan Hunter will work all day long, and they proved that against GHA. So we're just looking for that kind of performance in terms of defensively, but also attacking wise as well, getting their hands on the ball, linking with their backs, putting them under pressure. Backline pretty settled. Cree, British Steer remains at 9. Jack Harrison has moved into 10 with the injury to Rory McAfee, and a centre pairing of Stevie Hamilton and James Dow, who are kind of blending together pretty well as a strong partnership in that centre. And back 3 wise, Frey McKeever is kept his position, having come back from his injury. And young Rio Batia also retains his position from starting against Melrose last week. Showed up really well, trained really well, and deserves to keep his place. And the old stalwart Donald Anderson will be keeping things moving from 15 jersey and marshalling that backfield pretty well as he does, I'm sure. It's a massive game. We can't underestimate it. It's the first of 4 massive games, as I've said before. We need to go out with tempo, pressure on them, and relieve the pressure from ourselves. Play with a bit of freedom. Don't get caught up in the kind of moments of thinking about not making mistakes, but just going out and putting into place the game plan that we've got, the skills that we know that we've got, and coming away with those 5 points, which will hopefully see us in the first step of 4 big steps to safety.
So a chance for Peebles to get their confidence back tomorrow. They still have to go up to Highland and over to Boroughmuir as well, which I believe is going to be played at Marr side because there's a football game booked in, and of course this was a replacement game from the weather. So that makes it a neutral venue, which would obviously help Peebles more.
Yeah, I would, for sure, in fact. But yeah, Peebles know the job at hand. Tomorrow they need 5 points. For me, they will get 5 points. They've, their points difference is better than Biggar. It's better than Highland. They've been in some tight scraps. They've not had massive cricket scores put on them, but yeah, they're going to have to pick up 5 points tomorrow, and I think that will be exactly what they'll leave with.
And you can't help thinking back to that match at Mayfield where Dundee beat them and 4 points lost. Could be crucial.
Yeah, it could be come the end of the season. But everything's played over the course of a season, and you can never really put it down to one particular game. But yeah, it's not helped the cause, put it that way.
Well, it's Stirling County against Gala in the other match. Gala pretty safe now on 42 points. On the road against the Stirling, who have never failed to score a try bonus every time they take the field this season. Here's Gala Director of Rugby, Ewen Swinton.
Our last outing against Boroughmuir produced what I would call a satisfactory performance. We were very strong up front, particularly in the scrum. Kyle Scott, playing his 100th game, did well, and Ryan Montgomery, who came on to replace him, also did very well. Our hooker, Jack Eason, is a very strong scrummager, and our man of the match on the day was Gavin Fisher, who is just 18, 19 years old and is playing his first season of senior rugby and is really producing the goods for Gala this year. So yeah, front row and the forwards in general did well. When we got close to the line, we have to be honest and say that we lacked a bit of punch. We had various goal line stands where Boroughmuir held us out, and we were restricted to just 2 tries. So I think the takeaway from the Boroughmuir game is that we need to be a bit more clinical in our finishing. We need to get the ball out to the wings, who have pace and power. Ben Gill beats the first tackle every time, so I'd like to see him on the ball more, maybe going hunting for it more. But he certainly knows what's required there. We have a tough fixture this week, heading up to take on Stirling County, against whom we had a fantastic match down in Netherdale. But I think that we all recognise that it's a different proposition going away, and we know the challenge that we face. That being said, if our front row can front up in the manner that they did in the last couple of weeks, and really take it to Stirling County, then you never know what can be achieved. We're underachieving in the backs at the moment, but someday that's going to change. Scott Peppers has returned, and he's giving us a wee bit more cutting edge than was there before, and his distribution and kicking are also excellent. So we'll be a different proposition than we were to Stirling County last time out, and hopefully we will get the ball wide to the wings after punching up through the middle. So we can bring variety, we can bring pace, and we can bring power, but we've got to do it. We can't sit back and let Stirling County play their game. If we do, we know we're in for a very long afternoon. So it's about taking the game to them, understanding our strengths and those who can really achieve good things for us. We should have a bit more power and weight back in the pack this week with a bit of luck, and be able to punch these holes. Going up to Stirling is never going to be easy. We absolutely and completely respect the club. They are gunning for promotion still. They will be aiming to take out the GHA option of going up, and getting past us will be part of that. So we know what a challenge we face, but we go up there, as always, with optimism. We have not got a good record away from home, but every year we produce a performance. It's something, it's almost as if it's a balancing act and it's due. And that away performance is now due to us. So I'm going to take the optimistic line and say that we will bring our season performance to Stirling on Saturday and give them a real battle. And I think that's as much as we can ask of the boys, but we can certainly ask that. So go up there, put everything on the line and battle for Gala.
So positive, that man, and yet he was 2 or 3 weeks behind us when we said that Gala were safe.
Yeah, that was almost Churchillian. The hairs on the back of my neck are up. But no, he always brings such positivity, and it's always so refreshing to hear. And yeah, but he's right. It's a tough one tomorrow. You know, a team that no less than 5 points will do against a team that in all honesty, now have nothing to play for. Season objective in the bag. I can only see it going one way, or the smart money would suggest it could go one way, but I was at the reverse game and Gala got ploughed right in about them, and it took a couple of flashes of class from ex-pro Glenn Bryce towards the end that got Stirling over the line there, but Gala were absolutely magnificent that day. You mentioned Gavin Fisher. I was seriously impressed by him on that occasion. He looks a great prospect. Sam Smith was unbelievable that day, and yeah, if they can bring that same energy that they had that day, then they can get stuck right in again, come away with something potentially. But I do see Stirling winning that game.
Dundee went 19-0 up, didn't they, at Bridgehall early in the season, which is something which raised a few eyebrows.
Oh yeah, I mean, Stirling can concede. They've shipped 322 points this season. They've scored 645 bonus point try.
If you're going to ship them, you've got to score them.
Aye, that's it. But that's what they do. So there are tries there for Gala. Gala got a bonus point from memory against them in the reverse fixture. So yeah, there's nothing to lose. It's a bit of a free hit for Gala. Go enjoy it and have a good old crack at them like you did in the last game.
And of course, they could also make sure that Stirling County don't get a try bonus for the first time. So there's all sorts of little things that they can do.
Oh yeah, that's it. Stirling need 5 points from every game from here on in. So Gala could give them a bloody nose in that regard.
On to National 2 then, and let's have a look at the table. Remember, there's 9 teams in this league. Gordonians at the top, 49, looking pretty healthy there, 9-point lead over Stewmel, who came unstuck last week. More about that in a second. GHK have 33, Kirkcaldy 31, Falkirk 30. Then we get the bottom 4, Lasswade 23, Berwick 22, Preston Lodge 21, and Newton Stewart 16. Very tight at the bottom there. So the results from last week were Gordonians 29, Berwick 5. No real surprises there. But here's a surprise. Preston Lodge 35, Stewmel 33. Preston Lodge in the relegation zone, finding 5 points against Stewmel, and Stewmel, of course, were desperate to get 5 points themselves to keep competing against Gordonians, but they didn't do it. So Preston Lodge, a bit of a revival there. That was a bit of a shock.
Oh, that's a huge result for PL there. The real scrap going on at the bottom where there's 2 down. It's going to be 4 into 2, you would say, with Newton Stewart, but Newton Stewart are 5 points adrift at the bottom, but they've got 2 games in hand, and it's, so there's a bit of intrigue there, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there, and which makes Berwick's home game tomorrow all the more important.
Well, Berwick lost to top of the table Gordonians last time out, of course. They did beat GHK on the road. It's GHK improving all the time, who sit third now. And let's get the thoughts of Berwick boss Paul Pringle, because it's Berwick against GHK.
We're coming off the back of a fairly tough loss, to be honest, up at Gordonians. We started really slowly for whatever reason. We conceded 17 points in the first 5-6 minutes. And then after that, it took us a good 30-35 minutes to get our first score. We felt like we were working our way back into the game and in the ascendancy. And then just a bit of a tale of the season. We had a critical error at a key moment in the match, allowed Gordonians in from 50 plus metres. And then, that really kind of just stalled the comeback. And really, it's credit to Gordonians. They play a really tight brand of rugby. They make very, very few unforced errors, and you can certainly see why they are in the position they're in. But yeah, there was promise there, but we came away with nothing, which was unfortunate. But look, we've moved on from there. We've taken the lessons into training. We're building for this weekend. We know that GHK will be looking for a bit of revenge after what was probably one of our best performances this season when we went up there and beat them earlier. We would certainly be targeting this one as we are the remaining 5 games. But for me, it's all about getting those 3 home games in the first instance. You win those, and you put yourself a good way towards another season in National 2, which ultimately is the big goal for us. In terms of team selection this week, so we have just rejigged the pack slightly in preparation for the game. So Jock Williamson will come back in at 2. We have Ryan will move back into the back row with Mason and Ali. And really that's a little bit unfortunate on Callum Sim, who played exceptionally well up at Gordonians. But we just felt we needed that little bit extra bulk in there. So Callum will drop to the bench, but he'll get plenty of game time, and I'm sure he'll make a big impact. In the backs, Duncan Hardy is unavailable for selection this week, but we do have Rory Hindhoff coming back from the eye injury he had against Newton Stewart. So, that just brings back that centre partnership with James Thompson, which for me, really is so crucial to everything we do. So, yeah, pleased to have them back. Jordan Jackson's out with an ankle injury. He sustained up at Gordonians. So Ben Nicholson will come in. Ben's been playing really well for the Twos and also off the bench for us. So it's great to see him get his opportunity. And then on the bench, we have Carl Gullen steps up after some strong performances for the Twos and in training. We've got James Grieve back. James tends to be away for a couple of months during the season. He has other priorities, but to get him back for the last 5 games, I think is going to be crucial. James is just a big physical presence, and he's a really experienced player. So to have him on the bench this week, gives us a really strong squad, and really we're just looking forward to getting the game on, and hopefully getting that first win of 1 of 5 in the bank, and then moving on from there.
Well, I have to say, I'm getting a wee bit nervous for Berwick, particularly after that Preston Lodge result last week, which takes them to within a point of Berwick. Of course, Preston Lodge have the day off, being a 9-team league. But we heard a couple of weeks ago about Newton Stewart's injury issues, which have had a devastating effect. They have 2 games in hand, as you mentioned earlier, and if they can get some of their injured souls back and turn things round, a couple of wins in those games could then put them above Preston Lodge and Berwick and Lasswade. So a lot of rugby left in National 2.
Yeah, there seems to be Berwick with 5 games left, and Newton Stewart more than that. So you're right, there's plenty of rugby to be played, and there's going to be a few twists in the tail, no doubt. But yeah, Newton Stewart not out of it yet. If they can get any sort of rugby out of McCormick, etc. this season, then that'll make a massive difference. But yeah, it's just a huge game at Scramerston tomorrow. Paul's right. They've got 3 home games left starting tomorrow, and yeah, they could do well. Minimally a win. A 5-pointer would be nice, but yeah, to hear the likes of Hindhoff's back, him and Thompson are, that's minimally a National 1 centre pairing for me. So you'd like to think they can cut loose at times tomorrow and do some damage. But yeah, huge game at Scramerston tomorrow, and we'll know more about Berwick's fate come 5 p.m.
Yes, because Falkirk are playing Newton Stewart. That's 5th against 9th. Stumel v Lasswade, you would put that down as a home win, 2nd against 6th there. And Kirkcaldy against top of the table, Gordonians 4th against 1st. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Well, this is the Friday Rugby Preview on Rugby Radio, and so we turn our attention to matters in the East League. No game for Langham in East League 1, but in the 2nd Division, Hawick Harlequins are at home to Trinity Accies in a 4th versus bottom fixture. Dunbar are 22 points ahead in the table, but they've been beaten once this season. But realistically, everyone knows Dunbar are heading for promotion. It's all about finishing 2nd to them. Quins have 4 games in hand, but 28 points behind Dunbar. Let's hear from their captain, Liam Graham.
Even though it's only been 2 weeks, it seems like a good while for us to have another home game. After a disappointing call-off against Livingston when the weather was bad, due to unforeseen circumstances up at Livingston, they had to call the game off, which we had a really good squad for, and we're really looking forward to that game to challenge ourselves away from home and try and pick up another victory. It would be a really successful away season for us. Hoping now this week to welcome down a team that are at the bottom of the league but are really fighting at the bottom of the league. The points tally for them probably a bit unfair due to a couple of called off games. They're looking more adrift at the bottom than they actually are, really. If you look at their past few games, they've really taken games to teams and really give some the bigger teams in this league a scare. So hoping this week we'll need to be top game, really. Hopefully to have a big squad behind us, welcoming a few players back who weren't available for Kirkstoffer all those weeks ago. And hopefully now kicking on, and hopefully this will be a more regular string of games for us after we get the Six Nations period kind of out of the way and Scotland play on Saturdays. Hopefully we can get a good run into the season without any disruptions, really, and hopefully finish this league off strong. And once, as we've said all season, our target is that top 3 position. Just trying to win as many games as possible, really, from now on in. now every game to us should be a win. That's what we're going to be looking at as, obviously, take every game as it comes, different challenges, but really looking forward to hopefully kickstart our season once again for what seems like a third or fourth time, really, I've been saying this.
Into East League 3, and the table looks like this. Earlston are top, having only been beaten once this season. That was 2 weeks ago at Hawick Lindeen by a point, but they have a 7-point cushion over Edinburgh Northern, who they play in the East Bowl final in Edinburgh next weekend. We wish them all the best for that. And this week they face Inverleith at home. Inverleith haven't won in 9 outings. They sit on -5. So a home banker, you would think, as we get the thoughts of Earlston head coach Cammy Hill.
Obviously the return fixture from early on in the season where we came away with a relatively convincing 40-odd points win. Hoping this weekend we can kind of get back on track. Obviously we Lindeen a few weeks ago, having a little blip in our season where we lost 27-26, which was pretty unfortunate. Kind of puts a little bit of pressure on us now. Going into this game, we're looking really. We need to get the bonus point tied out, get a good win, and that at least keeps us on track. And in a way, kind of hoping for a better result elsewhere with the Edinburgh Northern and Lindeen game. A Northern win there favours us quite considerably. I think it would leave us maybe 7 or 8 points, depending on how results go going into the last 2 games. So that would kind of help us that way, ease off the pressure ever so slightly. This weekend, obviously, squad-wise, we're missing quite a few. Alistair Sessford, Gareth Walker on 9, Morgan Oliver and Callum McNeil in the centres. These are all lads that have unfortunately picked up injuries on that pitch at Hawick Lindeen a few weeks ago and never really managed to recover just as of yet. So we'll give them an extra week and hopefully we can get them back for the cup final next weekend. Apart from that, got a good enough side going out that can do the job quite comfortably, I believe. So here's hoping for another win and carry on and try to get the league wrapped up as soon as we can.
Duns are in 4th. They take on Lismore tomorrow, while Hawick Lindeen travel to Edinburgh Northern, 1 place above them, but Lindeen have a game in hand. Lindeen's Kieran Murphy gives us his preview.
It's a massive game. They're very much the informed side in the league, undefeated since the 14th of September, so it's a great run for them to go that long without a defeat. So they're very much in the mix still for the title. They're up with us. They're sitting just above us in the league, albeit we've got a game in hand. So it'll be very tough up there because they're always good at home. They always have been. It's always been a tough place for us to go. So obviously we had a bit of a hard-hitting week against Earlston and we've picked up a lot of injuries. Our whole squad, we've actually got 13 unavailable, whether that be through injury or absence. So it's a big hit for us. It's obviously got to be one that we're just going to have to fight through, but we have got a squad. Probably the first time this season we'll probably not get a 22 out, which is also pretty good because it's been a great turnout of numbers this year. So we've still got a good 15 and a good set of subs, and possibly getting a couple of the under 18s stepping up to help us out and have a shot at men's rugby. So that'll be good too. Like I said, it'll be a very tough game, but hopefully we can get up there and get the victory and get back down the road, and we're still in a chance of the league.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Friday Rugby Preview. We're on air at 2:30 tomorrow for commentary with Robin and Graeme Dodds at Selkirk v Hawick in the Premiership / Border League double-header. We've also got David Ferguson at Kelso against Melrose. And remember, you can listen to Rugby Radio at rugbyradio.co.uk and also from bordersrugby.net. And our X feed is at Borders Scores. That will bring you the latest score updates. But for now, from Robin and myself, a very good night.
The Friday Rugby Preview with Stuart Cameron.